culture is being reinstated in those wastelands. In many Arabic countries we witnessed this, and also the great number of floods and storms, urbanization, and the shopping malls being closer to each other every day, and the building of very high buildings. And there's another interesting reference in the Hadiths, which is again a sign of the coming of the Mahdi and Jesus Christ, and that references about people who will be able to talk with their whips' ends. Now that whips' ends might very strongly referring to our mobile phones, but because our mobile phones, their antennas might be likened to a whip. And in these hadiths we have explanations of human beings who will be able to listen to their own voices, which is again possible through voice recordings. Another similar reference is that people will be talking to one another through their heels. Now there is a very newly built gadget. You can see that on the internet. People put a wireless transmitter into your heel, and through that transmitter you are able to communicate with other people. Now all these signs have been realized, and we have witnessed their occurrence in a very short span of time. And as I have said, they all hint at Mahdi's coming. Of course, there are many, many other signs, and I have only quoted some of them. And our Prophet has explained that these signs would be occurring in the lunar year of 1400, and they will be completed in 1500. So in that 100 years of time, all those signs will be completed. But the signs I have quoted and their occurrence already hint at the fact that the Mahdi is among us. So I base those periods of time on hadiths.
There are many things I want to ask you about, but we don't have time for all of them. So I want us to move to another major, without a transition, no transition phase, we'll move to another major topic that interests me very much. And it's being in Turkey, in the West, and in the Muslim world, we hear and see on our television screens talk of a battle between secular people and people of faith. What is that battle about?
Well, secularism is, in its real sense, in its real meaning, is something very beneficial and something we need to preserve. Because secularism is advantageous for true believers, for sincere believers. Secularism is for the advantage of both Muslim people and for non-Muslims, Jews and Christians and all other believers in different creeds and different religions. On the other hand, we might talk of certain plots and pressures and the different bad plots being played upon true believers. So these bad forces only encourage true believers to fight against them, because Allah has created contradicting forces. This is in the nature of things as we have them. And in order to be tested in a true manner, we need to have opposite and contradictory forces. Allah, as you know, has created the beautiful and the ugly. He has created the good and the bad. And He has also created the negative and the positive. So these opposing forces are for Muslim people, and they only encourage us to fight against for what is better. This has been so since the time of Adam, and it is going on up to this day in this manner. So what we need to do is to imagine a better world in which we could live, and what we need to do is to turn ourselves into good human beings and hope that we will be rewarded with heaven. So if Allah permits, because everything happens through His permission, we will be able to see such a better times, because it is Allah who has created this beautiful cup of coffee, and it is Allah who has created this beautiful and bright room. And looking at those beautiful things, it is not very difficult to deduce that Allah has the power and potential to create what is even more beautiful. So what we need to do is to believe in the power and strength of Allah. So that's what is sufficient and what we need to have.
You see, maybe the problem is in the word secularism, because in the Muslim world, in the Arab world, you mention secularism and it raises people's imaginations immediately, and they think that secularism means godlessness. So, does secularism mean something different in Turkey?
Well, that's a right point to make, and we can say that the Turkish secularism is not equal to the European secularism. There are certain differences, but then the movement, the tendency is that it is moving closer to the European model of secularism, and that would be something better to have. So within that line we are witnessing some positive developments. The Turkish government has very sincere attempts to work on that, and as you know, Turkey is trying to be a member of the European Union. So in order to prepare for full membership, the Turkish government is taking very serious and very sincere steps to be part of the European Union. But then this issue will be finalized, that aim will be reached when we have the Turkish and Islamic Union. So that will be the final point in which secularism will be developed in a very mature way.
We come back to that in a moment. Last night I was in Taksim Square, and there's a long street that leads from Taksim Square, I don't know what it's called, and there were many, many thousands of people walking along the street. And I was thinking and discussing with someone about this idea of secularism, a division between what we might call church and state, religion and state being kept apart. But I said to myself, all of these people walking here with the bright lights and all the clothes and the shoes and the record shops and the DVDs, if we just leave, for example, if we leave our young people to the forces of this world, to the forces of materialism, they will lose faith. Surely in a Muslim country, I simply ask this question, in a Muslim country like Turkey, it is not a place with no faith, it is a place of faith. Surely in such a country, some real action must be taken to help our young people and to pull them away from this dunya that is all around them, pulling them away from their faith.
Well, you're right in your observations, but then the Internet has a great function within this framework. The Internet offers us great opportunities to reach out to the young people, and we have been carrying out very serious studies and works on the Internet, and we have been able to reach those people, those young people. And it is another clear fact that in recent years, the social structure of Turkey has been developing with a very fast and rapid manner. People are turning their faces towards religion and to the Quran. And in 10 years' time, you will see the impact of all those developments in a clearer manner, in a more striking manner. So this development is a continuous and a vertical one, and which, as I have said, will be even